Hello and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about volunteers and volunteerism in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Bonnie Ayers. As we've heard on this show over the years, there are many opportunities for residents to help others by volunteering in Montgomery County. But first, the program we'll be talking about shortly is one that deals with victims of crimes such as rape and sexual assault, human trafficking, hate crimes, robbery, arson, and the list just goes on and on. But the Victim Assistance and Sexual Assault Program volunteers perform a variety of services to help ensure that victims can learn about and take advantage of the necessary support services they may need. There are a variety of ways that volunteers can help, and soon we'll learn about the program and what you can do to help local victims through the challenges they may face. But first, here are a few other volunteer opportunities available that might interest you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Bonnie Ayers, and our guests from the Victim Assistance and Sexual Assault Program are supervisory therapist Rafia Prince and volunteer Kim Donahue. Kim, Rafia, welcome to Make a Difference.
Thanks.
You all are engaged with an organization and a group that does some very serious work for people who need it most, and the volunteers are really on the front lines. But before we talk about that, Rafia, could you give us just an idea of what, and sort of elaborate on what I said in the opening, what the organization does really?
What we do is we support crime victims during the most vulnerable moments. We provide counseling. We have specialized therapists and victim assistants, as well as a very committed volunteer program.
And I think some of it, for example, let's talk about some of the things that volunteers might be doing. And there's a wide range.
Okay.
I learned that it's not all. I first heard about the court companions and so forth, and that's part of it. But just give us an idea of some, maybe a handful of things that volunteers might be doing.
Okay, well, there's 3 ways that a person can volunteer. The first way they can volunteer is by being a member of our Victim Service Advisory Board, and that's for individuals that are very passionate about victims and victim rights. Secondly, you can volunteer by in our courthouses, or district courthouses, and courthouse in Rockville and Silver Spring. There you help victims file peace and protective orders, as well as necessary paperwork, or even accompany victims to court. And lastly, you can volunteer by participating in our outreach program. And this is where volunteers provide 24 hours around the clock services to victims of rape and sexual assault in local hospitals and police stations. They're there to accompany and provide some type of crisis counseling.
Now, that's I think what I've been most familiar with over the years, and that's what a lot of people I think want to get involved with. But there is, as you've said, a wide range of things. Now, but tell me about your job as a supervisory therapist.
Well, as a supervisory therapist, I supervise the therapists. I oversee the volunteer program and also the victim assistance.
Well, that's quite a large task there. There's a very important component to this whole program, and that's the training.
Exactly.
Let's talk for a while about the training, why it's so important. All volunteer organizations usually have some kind of training, and a lot of it's just informal, and sometimes it's on the job, but this isn't. And let's talk, both of you have been very involved, both Kim and Rafia. Let's talk about the importance of the training and what it's like.
Okay. Well, the training is 30 plus hours. very structured, where resources are provided and role plays on how to handle different situations when working with victims.
And Kim has been through this personally, of course, as a
Yes,
2-year volunteer.
Went through the training and then had the opportunity this last time to help out with doing some of the training.
And what all do you have to, what goes on in a training session?
Well, the training session the day that I helped out, there's a large variety of things every night, and all the different therapists take a turn leading. The day that I helped out, we talked about the outreach, actually going to the hospital or the police station, meeting with the victims, doing things like practicing role playing, took a tour of the crisis center.
And when, how many days a week is the training? What
It's
kind of time
3
period?
days a week. Usually there's one Saturday for the entire day on Saturday, and then the other 8 are evening sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Be it at VASAP or maybe a tour of the hospital, going to meet at the family crimes or major crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very wide variety of things going on.
And I think we need to reiterate and really make sure people understand that this is required.
It is
Yes.
required, and it helps also to see if it's a good fit for the volunteer, if the volunteer thinks it'll work for them, or if VASAP thinks that they will be able to handle it.
And quite honestly, we can say that not everybody all the time does get through the whole process.
Correct. I
So
think
it's not just because you come and think this is something I want to
Right.
do. There's a bit more to it than
Right.
that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the last session started with 8 people in training and ended with 4 who actually came on board.
Well, I think that's important to know too, so people can really go into this in the spirit in which it's given.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rafia, let's give some contact information.
Okay.
So now there are more contacts than there used to be. It used to be just a phone number, but now phone number, website, or email, or whatever can get people to you all the easiest.
Oh, can I mention one thing before?
Yes.
In order to volunteer, you have to be a Montgomery County resident, have a valid driver's license, and be able to commit for a year. Just
Okay,
to add
that was
in.
another question, was the time commitment, but you put in some other good information in there too. No, that's good. Now that people know, where they stand, if they're still interested, how can they get hold of you all?
They can contact us at www.vasap.org, and there's an icon where you can click on and fill out an application.
Great. And then what happens after that?
Then one of the therapists in the office will call you back, and then after you receive that call, we prepare for trainings. Once we get enough people together, then you get another call about when we'll be having our
And you
training.
actually go in for an interview. It's almost
yes,
like going for a
that's
paid
right.
job. You go in for an interview, you have to provide references, they do check the references, and then once you clear those hurdles, then you do the training.
And Kim speaks from experience because you've been doing this now for, I believe, a couple years?
2 years now, yes.
And what led you into wanting to do something like this? Because you just don't decide spontaneously that this is something I want to do on a whim. What led you
I
down the path?
actually, my family, we were the recipients several years ago of victim assistance services in another jurisdiction, and I didn't know such things even existed, so I was very impressed with the services we received then. And my daughter was entering high school at the time, so I kind of put that in my thoughts for when she got out of high school, when she was graduating. And so she entered her senior year, I started looking into what kind of services we had here in our jurisdiction, and that led me to VASAP.
And had you ever, well, other than some experience, did you ever think that when you had the time to maybe volunteer or do something that you would be led down this particular path?
No. I mean, I've always been a big volunteer, very involved at church, very involved at PTA. So I kind of felt like I only have the one child, and I kind of felt like, what am I going to do when she grows up? Or when I grow up, I would say, when she got out. So, no, I never would have imagined something like this. But
Now, a question that we hadn't talked about is the interaction among the volunteers. You all sort of, I would think, have sort of a bond because you all have committed and passed the test, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a chance ever for you all to get together and share your experiences?
Yes, we do have mandatory monthly meetings that we attend. And when we go, we get a little bit of training, and we're able to talk about our cases and share with each other and give feedback. And so we do get to connect with others, yes.
And Fia, what kind of people are you looking for? It's hard to say you must be able to do this and that, but generally, what type of person makes a good VASAP volunteer?
Someone who's committed, someone who cares about victims and victim rights, and someone who's compassionate, supportive, and caring.
And able to listen.
That's good.
And have you seen people from various backgrounds come into this? I mean, they all don't necessarily have had, unfortunately, personal experience, but do you find that there's a broad variety of people who want to do this?
Yes. We get people from everywhere, all walks of life, and that's one of the benefits, is that we have that diverse group, because a crime victim can be anyone.
Of any age. Is there an age, a minimum age?
Yes, you must be over 21.
Okay, okay. And commitment long term. I know that you said for some of them there's almost a 24/7 commitment, you're quote on call or whatever, but long term, now Kim has been there 2 years, but is there a minimum like of a year or something that you want them to give?
Yes,
1 year.
1 year.
And that's just basically for continuity?
For continuity, and and VASAP invests their time and energy in us, so they would like to know that we're going to be there for pay off their investment.
Exactly. And we have very little time left, but Rafia, could you give the website and a phone number and contact information?
Okay. The website is www.vasep.org, and the phone number is 240-777-1355.
Very good, very good. You've told a wonderful story about this organization and the people that respond and are involved. So congratulations to both of you for doing this on a continuing basis. And thank you on behalf of victims everywhere. And thank you for doing the show with us today.
Thank you for having us.
We've been talking with Rafia Prince and Kim Donahue about volunteering with the Victim Assistance and Sexual Assault Program. For information about volunteering with the program or other organizations in Montgomery County, contact the Volunteer Center at 240-777-2600 or visit their website at www.montgomeryserves.org. And remember, as a volunteer, you can make a difference.